What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 12 of the Rise to Glory here with Gibraltar Apex. And today we have our first ever Champions League match. It's the first qualifying phase for the champions of various nations, and to be honest, we're pretty darn lucky. We got a kind draw. If we look at kind of this competition and where we're at, we of course joined in the first qualification phase. You can see the teams we could have got: Banger City, EB Stramer. Never heard of them. They're from the Faroe Islands. Valletta FC, again, Molten team, and then Fulgor. And to be honest, we've got lucky. We've got very lucky, because today we're taking on UE Santa Coloma, who are an Andorran team. And actually, a little thing about this save: when I made Gibraltar a FIFA member, in order to make sure I didn't screw up the World Cup qualification, I had to remove another existing European FIFA member, and, well, Andorra were the nation that paid the price. So they are actually potentially the best team we could have got. All their players are virtual players, greyed out. In terms of how good they are, I mean, they're not bad players, but we probably have the edge over them, if I'm honest. If we compare kind of some of their players, their best left mid to kind of our best left mid, I don't know. I think we edge them. I think it's going to be a close game, as kind as the draw has been. Obviously, we still don't have the greatest team in the world, but hopefully we can do one over on them today here in the first European kind of qualifying phases. I'm going to do both legs today. In terms of since kind of last episode, well, as you can see, our season starts very early. We're only in June. Worth noting, our players are, well, their conditions are awful, if I'm honest. They're terrible. I can't quite believe how bad they are going into this game. I'm hoping we're not going to get too many injuries. I mentioned last episode how the kind of issue of condition can be a problem. As you guys can see, to end the season, I played a friendly against College Europa on the 17th of this month, and then we played one more friendly, I think about a week ago. In fact, yeah, exactly a week ago on the 21st of June. And a week later, our players still haven't recovered. It's an issue with how soon our qualification kind of campaign has to begin. I can't get players friendlies to get them match fit. Their condition suffers if I kind of, play them in friendlies. In terms of our squad registration for the Champions League, of course, the club's only existed for 2 years, so having players who have trained at the club for 3 years is, well, simply put, impossible. As a result, our squad size for this registered competition is kind of on the small side. You can see here, 18 players registered. Glenn Gilbert, unfortunately, injured for this qualifying game. And then, well, as you can see, a few players unregistered and on holiday and such. In terms of any new players, I brought in one player kind of to start the season. That is Mark Ballester, who, as you guys can see here, Gibraltarian, 3 caps for the national team. Good centre-back. I need someone to replace Bruzon, with Bruzon leaving us kind of at the end of the month. As you can see, last year he had a fairly okay season at Britannia. Of course, they really suffered Britannia. They weren't a very good team, and, well, Mark Ballester probably knows that because we scored 9 goals against him. But despite that, he is a leading player for teams in our division. He's a good player. I don't think he is a big fan of big games, which might be a little bit of a problem. But regardless, at 22 years old, room to develop, very, very good centre-back. Very happy to get him into the club on a free transfer. So anyway, let's get into today's game. Really, it's a full-strength team despite the issues of condition. Part of me actually wants to rotate a few players, and in fact, I've changed my mind. I'm going to take out a few of the players who aren't match fit and play kind of players above 60 condition where possible. But it is a problem, kind of the condition issue that we have. Obviously, there's not a huge amount I can do about it, which is kind of unfortunate. But we'll do our best just to get a nice kind of balance of our strongest team, but also players who aren't on like 0 condition, because, well, it wouldn't be great to have players on 0 condition. So we're going to make a few changes. I think this is the team we're going to go with. It's a bit of a compromise. Hopefully some of these players can recover for the next fixture in a week's time. It's worth noting our kind of our fitness training really isn't that bad. In fact, I might even change our training focus onto fitness now, because otherwise I'm going to forget and it might be useful to have it. But yeah, in terms of our coaching, we're not actually that bad. I mean, there is a debate to say that I should cover defending myself at a lower cost to have better fitness coaching, and I'm actually going to do that. So that's what we're going to go with for today's game anyway. The team, pretty standard. The only real change from our best team is really kind of the fact that we are without the one and only Glenn Gilbert at left-back. Santos is going to have to come in, but Guerrero, Ballester, Shembri, Inferreyes, Borg at centre, at goalkeeper, left and right midfielders, pretty standard. Sargent coming into the team, Connolly and Rull up front. I mean, it's not a bad team. So this is the team we are going to go with for today's game. Let's submit it. Players are not match fit. I know that's going to be a problem this year. We'll give Baleste his preferred number of number 24. I know some of my subscribers are really anal about squad numbers. I'm sorry to all you people who I annoy by auto-numbering my players. So anyway, let's get into this game and, well, try and get a win here in the first leg. This is our first ever Champions League game. Hopefully it's going to be a packed out homestand. We are actually the favourites for this game, which is kind of nice. I wasn't expecting that. It's also worth noting, of course, that away goals do count, so a good defensive performance here would be nice. And we are going to have the second leg away from home, and we are probably going to need to score some goals in it. So we'll see how we get on here. Playing against UE Santa, I can't remember the rest of their name, Coloma. So big game, but we have some big players, and hopefully they can turn up for us here, as we will be on the attack. Connolly, oh, he scores. What a start. 21 minutes in. Ben Connolly, who has, I believe, recently been drafted into the Gibraltar squad. I believe he also made his debut for the national team at 17. He gets a goal. What a ball that was, through by Sargent, a player who was actually on the bench before I sorted out my team. So it's a good job I did just recap it and make up my mind. But what a goal that is. We take an early lead here, 1-0. If we could dominate this game, qualify for the second round, that would be amazing. It would give us 2 rounds worth of TV money. In the second round, the draw has been made. We are taking on Red Bull Salzburg of Austria, which, to be honest, I expect us to get absolutely hammered in. But in this early stage, we should be competitive. We have a chance there. Hernandez with the shot, parried wide. Connolly to Griffo. Can we get the ball back into the box? Sargent's there, was involved in the build-up for the first goal. Out wide to Shembri. Can he whip in the ball? He can't. Ball going to be cleared away. But yeah, I mean, the second round is going to be Mission Impossible-esque, but this is very much Mission Possible. If we can beat the Andorran team, it's going to help us out. Financially, we do get pretty big benefits just for playing in this competition. If we get knocked out in this competition, I believe we get something in the region of £160,000 just for losing in this stage, which would immediately take our club out of debt. But if we can get to the second round, that's 2 rounds worth of TV money plus all the gate receipts, which you'd expect to be a sellout. That would be absolutely incredible. Anyway, at half-time, only 1-0. Some of our players are really struggling for condition. I don't know if with this team who we're playing against being a kind of team filled with virtual players, if they're going to have a similar situation. They're not. So their condition is a lot better than ours. Whether or not their match fitness isn't so great, I guess, remains to be seen. But if we can kill off this game early in the second half, that's going to be kind of important. Looking at it here, I mean, Santa Coloma, they've not done anything. They've not had a shot on goal yet. So I'm hoping we can do something here. Anyway, 55 minutes gone. Still 1-0. Still that Connolly goal, the difference. It's a good goal, but we want to build on that if we can. And Rule with a chance here. Shembri whips in the ball. Griffo headed away to Munoz. Munoz goes out wide to Shembri. Can he whip in a ball? He can. Connolly is there and he hits it straight at the keeper. That was a clear-cut chance. Probably 2 yards out, if that. And he hits it straight at the keeper. Looking at the condition, we're struggling. We are really struggling in this game. If we can hold out now for the 1-0, I'd be pretty pleased with that. We are, of course, going to have to go away from home. But a clean sheet here, I mean, that would be big in itself. And Connolly might have another chance here. Using that pace to get in behind. And Pinto this time with the save for them again. Our third clear-cut chance, but the score remains 1-0. I think we're going to make some changes here. I'm going to bring on Legia for Connolly, who is really struggling, as you can see. 46% condition. You will not find players with much lower condition than that. And I think we're also going to use our remaining changes as well, just to get some fresh legs on. I'm going to take off Hernandez. Really can't afford to have him injured. I'm going to go for a triple change with 15 minutes left. But our players are struggling for fitness here. But, I mean, we're 1-0 up. If we could hold on to the clean sheet, that's huge. One more goal would be absolutely massive. We might have a chance here. Sanchez Rule kicks it straight at Romero, who now goes back to Pinto. We now have our subs on. They're going to have a set piece here. Can we defend it? Keeper comes out. Nice play by Joe Borg. Now can we get men forward? Legia on the pitch now alongside Rule. We have some fresh-legged strikers. They're pretty fast as well. Hopefully we can capitalise on that. Rule nods it through to Legia, tackled away, but Griffo will be there. Tries to go out wide to the sub, Drimmy. Now going to be with Shembri, the right-back. Don't want him to misplace a pass there, and he hasn't. He goes inside to Munoz. He goes back to Roberts, another sub who's come on. Santos, our second choice left-back, who's on due to the injury. Gets in, and now he looks offside. He is offside. Not even going to celebrate it. 10 minutes left. We had a goal there, but it's been chalked off for being offside. And 5 minutes left in this game. We've dominated this game from start to finish. They've not had a shot on target. Let's just shut up shop, not concede now. We have 5 minutes just left to see out this game and hopefully we can use the momentum from this game. Players can get a bit fitter and will be ready for the second leg as Legia is going to be bringing the ball forward. Goes inside to Griffo, who lays it inside to Rule, who puts it wide. And that is another chance. 4 clear-cut chances, but this game is probably going to finish 1-0, and that is disappointing in itself. And to cap it all off, Jose Maria Sanchez Rule is out. He's had an injury. We've used all our subs. And the game is going to end on that note. I'm hoping that is not a serious injury to him. That is a good result. We won. A little bit disappointing perhaps given the circumstances. And if we don't do well in this kind of second leg, well, we're going to live to kind of rue these mistakes, I guess you could say. And Sanchez Rule actually going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. So anyway, let's get straight into the second leg. It's going to be in a week's time. We're going to continue through this. That Rule miss, though, is going to be a big one for us. I'm going to regret kind of not taking away chances if we now lose this game in the second leg. We're going to be away from home against Santa Coloma. Probably a little bit trickier playing the Andorran champions. Although, to be fair, we got a very good win against them in the first leg. To keep a clean sheet is huge. I don't think that can really be underestimated, particularly in Europe with kind of the away goals rules and such. Just ensuring that you keep those clean sheets, that can be kind of a real game changer. We get 1 goal in the second leg, suddenly Santa Coloma are going to need 3 goals, and at that point we can really start to shut up shop, defend if we need to. But yeah, a decent first leg. We were very fortunate with the first kind of draw of this competition, the fact that we got the Andorran team. Perhaps we could have been a little bit more fortunate than to have to play Red Bull Salzburg in the second leg, but regardless, it's going to be a fun challenge for us. And as you can see here, the World Cup in 2022 has been moved to China rather than Qatar. I've seen it get moved to a few different countries. I think I've seen Canada, Morocco, I think I've seen. Obviously now I've seen Canada. I think I've seen the USA as well. But yeah, that's it. I know in FM, the reason that they don't do the Qatar World Cup is because of scheduling. Because to have a World Cup just randomly in the winter is going to just completely screw up everything. Looking at the clubs, players released by Gibraltarian clubs, you can see here some pretty big names. Players like Chuchi, who are actually not bad players, and if I could snipe him, I'd probably take him. Can we get him in the van? Can we get him in the van? Probably not. I have a feeling he's just going to reject us. Yeah, not interested. That is an issue, actually, with a lot of the foreign players playing in Gibraltar at the start of the game. They just don't renew their contracts because they're just not happy. That's kind of benefited us quite a lot. Helped us last season. Will probably continue to help us this season. Simply put, because a lot of the strong Gibraltar teams have kind of Gibraltarian players in their ranks. We've had a £500 bid for Shembri from Lincoln Red Imps. That is not good enough for me. I think I've asked for 10k. Let's lower that to 8k. If I could get 8k for him, that'd be decent, although I can't see them doing that. Anyway, Lincoln Red Imps make a Shembri bid. Why are they bidding like £600? He wants to leave, but at the same time I think he's an important player for a Shembri. I don't really want to sell him for a tiny amount to a divisional rival. I'm going to tell them that I don't think the offer's good enough. I need 7k for him. He's probably going to try and force a move, which is a little bit disappointing because he's a good right back for a Shembri. Unfortunately for him, however, Reyes just gets ahead of him a lot of the games. I think Reyes last year got 15 assists as a right back, and when you're the second choice to that, you've got to accept you're not going to play that much football. Anyway, we're going to continue on here. 3,000 tickets were sold for this game against Santa Coloma in Andorra. I'm just going to check quickly what our attendance was last match against Santa Coloma. We actually got 2,100 fans, which is a really decent return. I don't know what that meant in terms of money. We've actually made a profit for this month. I guess the TV money and prize money and stuff for just playing in this leg isn't dished out. I believe the kind of qualification kind of TV revenue is maybe given out at the end of the qualifying stages of the Champions League. Whereas the prize money for losing is just given when you get knocked out at whatever point. How are our players looking for today's game? They're still not recovering fitness-wise. That's really annoying. I probably should have rested them. I might live to regret that, but I don't know. Some of our players look a little bit fitter, which is, I guess, better. I mean, I say that. 70% condition is hardly what I'd consider fit. But I guess it's what we have to deal with. I think we're going to stick with a fairly similar team to last game. Glenn Gilbert, I mean, he has better condition than half our players, the half-injured left-back, but we are going to rest him again today. It's not worth it. Worth noting that we actually lost our goalkeeper at the end of his contract, so we now only have one registered goalkeeper in Joe Borg. So I'm really hoping and praying now that we don't get any injuries kind of coming our way. Otherwise, that could, well, kind of put a dent in our plans. Anyway, we're going to have to play with pretty much a dead squad again here. It's going to be our 4-4-2 system that we stick with. We're away from home. Sanchez Rull, of course, injured, so he can't be on the bench. So Warren Bright, a player who's been a little bit forgotten of late, I think it's fair to say, is maybe going to have a chance here. He was our big standout player in our first season last year. With some of the additions we made in the striker position, just didn't play any first team football. He's going to be on the bench for us. If we desperately need a goal, maybe Warren is the player to come on. Anyway, looking at the kind of pre-match analysis, we won't have to be at our best to beat Santa Coloma. We should win by 3 or 4 goals. Well, we're being backed, I think it's fair to say. We were disappointed in the first leg. We should have won by more. But anyway, let's encourage our players in this first leg. If we can get to the second qualifying stage, I'd be pretty happy with that for our first ever Champions League campaign. The money that we'll get from that in terms of just the TV revenue, the prize money for losing, it'd be noteworthy. It would be a step towards making us a professional club and suddenly being able to have a lot more money offered to our players. I believe last season we only made a loss of £4,000, which, I mean, to be fair, isn't too bad at all. I believe the season before that we lost around £50,000. So with the TV revenue and the prize money we get in this competition, we are going to make a healthy profit this year. And we did have a chance there. The pass didn't quite make its way through, and now they're going to hit us on the break. Santa Coloma, well, it was an ambitious shot by Esquero, but it has gone wide. I hope I pronounced that guy's name right. I mean, I probably didn't. But we hold on at the moment. Looking at the stats, it's a little bit more 50-50 than the last game. Although we might be able to box them in here. Hernandez wins that throw in. Connolly back to Hernandez. Switches it to Santos. Can he whip in a ball of quality? He can. Players at the back post, lots of them. Doesn't find their way. Although Shembri to Sargent. Griffo goes out wide to Shembri, the man who's unhappy at the moment. We want to keep him at the club. He's a useful player to have. To Hernandez. Can he get the ball into the middle? He can. And Connolly is there. Makes it 2-0 on aggregate. Really nice play by Hernandez in the build-up to that goal. A really well-worked goal in the end. Connolly just able to get a fairly comfortable finish. And we make it 2-0 here. And suddenly, well, we just have to make sure we don't concede free. The stand, not particularly packed with away fans. Not many fans from Gibraltar making the trip to Andorra for this game. I can't say I blame them. But yeah, it's going to be a big mountain to climb now for Santa Coloma. Part of me wants to just park the bus at this point because they need 3 goals. But at the same time, given how our players are possibly going to tire, we need to kill off this game as soon as we can. If we can get another goal here, they suddenly need 4. At that point, I am very content to go defensive. But we might have another chance here. Shembri working his way down the right, crosses it in. Connolly is there. The goalkeeper in no man's land. The defenders, well, questionable in their marking, but Ben Connolly grabs his 3rd goal of the season, his 3rd in this qualifying kind of stage. He got 1 in the first leg, 2 today already. And this time, Shembri just whips it in, and Connolly is there for a nice little volley. Keeper, as I mentioned, just nowhere to be seen there, and the defenders just didn't track back with him, and that's pretty decent. I said at 2-0, I should probably go defensive. I probably should. They've just hit the crossbar. Ramirez with a rebound, but it is going to be disallowed for offside. Right. Let's just slow things down a little bit now. We can go on. We'll go on counter, and we'll look to play more direct, but we can sit a little bit deeper. We can start clearing the balls to the flanks. We don't need to look for the overlap quite so much. We'll make those changes for now. But all in all, so far, so good in this leg. We are doing what is needed of us to get that second round tie against Red Bull Salzburg, which, I mean, it's going to be a pretty big game, but at the same time, I don't expect massive kind of fireworks from our side, I guess, in that game. Connolly, maybe with a hat-trick, he will get his hat-trick. What a performance for him here. It's 3-0. We switched to counter-attack, and we're still going to keep scoring. Hernandez, the architect. Really nice play by him. Hernandez, of course, joined us last season from Manchester 62 FC, and it has to be said, he's been a bit of a revelation since joining the club, and he fed in Connolly there, who also joined us last summer. And Connolly is really looking like one of the big talents in the kind of Gibraltar football scene. He looks like he could be a key player for the national team in a few years' time. And I'm going to tell the players I'm pretty pleased with how things are going right now. In terms of kind of game plan, I guess we can start to tell the players to really slow down the tempo. We don't need to you know, run around too much. We don't need to tire ourselves out. We can really just take a breather and look to relax really in this game. We can just play Route 1. There's no point in trying to overstretch ourselves here. It's very unlikely that they are going to score 5 goals in this second half. And with a lot of our players on 50% condition, it's just simply put not worth it. So we're just going to play as slow as we can. Enjoy the game. If we grab a few more goals, great. But right now, just avoid injuries. Legia going to grab a goal for us early in the second half. Makes it 4-0. This is turning into a rout, I think it's fair to say. We have looked very, very impressive in this match. Santos out on the left, whipped it in. And it's just Legia with the chest down. And then, I think this was on his left peg. It was. Near post, squeezes it in. Take a bow, son. Great goal there, and we do make things 5-0 on aggregate with that goal. And I think it's safe to say now we are going to be through, and as a result, I'm going to just take off the players who, for me, I can't afford to get injured. And so I'm going to take off Hernandez, I'm going to take off Ben Connolly. I think they're the only changes I'm going to make for now. I'll save one sub just in case, although Adam Roberts on 46 or 45 condition does worry me. I mean, that's the nature, I guess, of this kind of competition, and the fact that we are a semi-pro team who don't have a massive pre-season. We don't have the amazing fitness training facilities. I mean, when you have players on 32% condition, like, it's pretty bad. And if we can avoid getting injuries, that'll be massive, because right now, that is the worst kind of thing that could happen. You know, we get a long-term injury, one of our key players, out for a number of months, in a game that, well, really, despite that wonder goal that Alvarez has just scored, is all said and done. But it's been a pretty impressive performance here. I mean, the pundits before the game said they were expected 4 or 5. I don't know if that they factor in for kind of fitness in all of that. I'm not actually sure if that goes into the odds. You'd imagine it does in FM, but FM does some weird stuff like that. But I mean, our players are dead out there right now, but it doesn't matter. We are going to run away victors in this game. We are going to progress, which, I'm going to be honest, at the end of last season, I didn't think we'd be saying, but we got a lucky draw. We didn't get put against Bangor City, the Welsh team, which probably would have spelled the end for us. And we've won this game 4-1 and 5-1 on aggregate, and that is a very pleasing result. Connolly with the hat-trick, really the standout player in that match. Already 4 goals now in the competition. And we are going to go marching on, and that is going to secure us a tie against Red Bull Salzburg, which, as I mentioned, don't really expect to beat them. They've got some pretty good players for us to try and overcome. But at the same time, we're going to kind of give it our best go and see how we get on. I expect us to get hammered. If we can hold on for a draw in one of the legs, that would probably be kind of a miracle. But yeah, we'll just kind of continue and see how we get on. The fans are jubilant. We are pleased. What is the prize money for getting knocked out in the next stage? That is positive thinking by me right there, isn't it? We'd actually get £200,000 just for losing in the next round, so that wouldn't be that bad, would it? It's going to be a massive challenge against Red Bull Salzburg. If you guys want to see the team potentially get pounded next game, hopefully you'll join me next time for episode, I think it's 12 or 13 next episode. I've lost count of late. But yeah, this wraps up everything from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. We're going to have that tricky tie coming up in not too long a period of time. I'm going to cancel these friendlies now because I don't want my players to get injured anymore. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for watching. And other than that, it's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.